Hello, kia ora. Hi, everybody, hi. Nice to see you, nice. Hi, guys, this is Nellie Morton, reporting from 9B Penton Road here in Stanmore Bay. I really need the world to believe what I'm about to say. I'm a pregnant mum. Um, uh, I'm going to tell you some truths about myself that will let you know just how honest and truthful I'm being in this news bulletin. Okay, first of all, I'm going to show you that I'm pregnant. Um, Here's my pregnant belly. This is a dress I wore to Sky City Casino in a couple of days ago. I haven't showered in about 3 days. That's how truthful I'm being. I'm a pregnant mum. I'm drinking. Not that much, but still drinking. And I'm smoking. Now you need to watch this video. You need to watch this video because this video may result in my YouTube channel being taken down, but I certainly hope not. Because and I speak now to the YouTube company. Please don't take my YouTube channel down, because what I'm about to tell you in this news bulletin is going to save a lot of lives, a lot of fucking lives, and your guys' lives included. So please don't take my YouTube channel down, and please allow me to speak the truth that many people who are no longer walking on top of this earth have longed for someone to speak. So I'm speaking. I'd like to give credits to Edward Snowden. I suspect Edward. I'm not sure if I should say your real name. I suspect Edward Snowden's real name is a name I'm not going to say. But anyway, I'd just like to thank him for sending me an email. I think it was about 2009, 2010, possibly 2011 actually. He sent me an email saying that he believes I'm innocent. Whether or not they've drugged him to forget that, but I said to him, I was so grateful to him, and I said to him, how am I going to remember your name? I think I called him my saviour, or knight in shining armour, or words to that effect. And he said, just think of snow. And I said, I'll just think of snow. So anyway, basically the contents of Edward Snowden's emails to me were words to the effect of, I know you're innocent. I think I asked him to learn how to be a psychic, because by learning how to become a psychic, you will see that a lot of the stuff that you think you know is actually just a decoy for what lies beneath. And that is the name of this bulletin. It's called What Lies Beneath. So, without further ado, I'm not gonna try and make this sound all professional. You're just gonna have to take this news as it comes. But believe you me, this will be one of the most important news reports that I will ever fucking do in my life. And there's going to be a bit of swearing too. I'd just like to do a shout out to Lord of Phenom. Thanks, buddy. Thanks so much. I'd also shout out to my daddy-o, the blonde guy who's set up a platform outside Pack and Save in Silverdale of the Hibiscus Coast of North Auckland of Aotearoa, New Zealand, where I'm from, where this news bulletin is coming from. The date today is the 28th of May 2019. But The guy I call Daddy-O, the blonde-headed guy who set up the platform outside Pack and Save in Silverdale, is doing a telepathic session with me. He's also got one of my little girls there, and if I'm not mistaken, she's one of my little girls that ended up doing some work for the Navy in America, possibly for our Navy as well. She's a very, very clever little psychic, and if I'm not mistaken, she's my little finger pointing girl that managed to get away from a really, really terrible situation that I found myself in Orewa one day. I'd just like to start by telling you a little bit about myself, very briefly. I am the person who's been publicly executed in New Zealand and America. I have angelic biochemistry that enables me to come back from the worst of deaths, including being burned alive, hung, drowned, stabbed, shot. When I get shot, not every time, but most times when I get shot, the bullets just bounce. They pierce my clothing, but they never pierce my skin. That's all part and parcel of my angelic biochemistry. I am a living, breathing angel. I have very unique gifts. I have a special skill set, such as teleportation, time travel, healing, psychic ability, telepathy. Basically, I can perform miracles. I can make it rain inside a building. I can make a circle of rain down on me. I've had people steal my powers in the past, and they've used those powers as if they are their own, but they've actually stolen them from me through hypnosis, through torturing my children, through murdering me, through stealing my children, through stealing my children's powers, etc., etc. To bring you up to speed, just look around and see how many people you've ever seen in your life shining like a starlight. That's because of me. I am Jesus's bloodline. I'm Jesus's actual bloodline. My angelic biochemistry shows up in my blood work intermittently every now and then. So that's why I believe I'm an angel. I go by the name God's Queen. I believe I'm more than an angel. I believe I am God's Queen. Now that might sound like delusion to you, but believe you me, many people have seen me shining like a bright star intermittently throughout my life. People have photographed it, taken videos. They have evidence of my ability to perform miracles has been recorded on video. I'm not sure what channel those videos have been shown on, but at the present time here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, there is a huge cover-up. New Zealand government is covering up the fact that they executed me. One of the guys who I know has been telling whopping huge lies about me, disparaging my character in order to carry the lie through and make it believable what New Zealand government is saying about me, and why I was publicly executed. Can you believe that? I was publicly executed, not just once, a few times. I've been murdered countless times, countless times. My age now is age 47, and after doing a basic summary of the many times I've been murdered, the many times people have deliberately hurt me and my children, and I'm talking ripping limbs here sometimes. I'm talking stabbing to the eyeballs, the worst ways that you can die. Me and some of my children have been through it and are still going through it. So this is a very, very important message that I'm bringing to you guys today. So I just just having just like, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments below. Please don't be negative or you know, like I've been through enough hurt in my life, guys. Like let's just be serious here. If you've got some serious questions, drop them. If you don't have serious questions, then please just refrain from commenting, and I'll let you go about your life in your blissful ignorance if you choose to ignore what I'm saying in this video. A swig of beer. Right. At the moment I'm being recorded. I have had telepathic evidence of the fact that I am being recorded. Um, um, in my room. Everything I say, burp, fart, drink, cry, everything, eat, is all being recorded. Um, I've been working recently. Okay, remind me to talk to you about the FBI agent that I've been working with, James Stryker. I think it's James Stryker or Stringer. I think it's James Stryker. Anyway, um, what I'm about to tell you is of the utmost importance because many people in America, I also largely suspect Canada. I also largely suspect the UK and England, the four most racist countries in the world who opposed the Indigenous Bill of Rights bill passed by the UN. Um, oh, sorry, that's how many countries? Oh, and Australia. So you've got New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, and the UK. Now, all these five countries oppose the Bill of Rights for Bill of Rights for Indigenous Rights, whatever it's called. Um, and here's the reason why. In the courtrooms of these countries. Now I'm gonna say what's been apparent, what I've discovered. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention I'm a detective on the New Zealand Police Force, a legitimate detective on the New Zealand Police Force. My badge number is 1472, and I have been investigating terrorism in our country since I was 6 years old. Actually, even before through my psychic ability. So since I was 6 years old. I've been investigating all forms of terrorism in our country and where there's those terrorism linked to other countries, etc. And so as a result, even though I'm pregnant now with what I believe are three babies, at least two babies, I haven't had an ultrasound scan done yet. Um, even though I believe, even though I'm pregnant with these babies, beautiful babies, which I'm going to love with all my heart and already do, but will love them more when they're born, is some of my children have been trafficked to other countries, including America, I believe the UK. I've seen one in a Asian country near the sea. Poor little girl, longing to come home to me. I've seen one in Vietnam, I think, as well. Uh, and so and so I'm this news bulletin is basically to hopefully that they will see this and recognise their mum and contact me at my new email address, which is imgq at protonmail.com. That's imgq, the little @ sign, PROTON mail MAIL.com. Sorry, I said that for my children. That's in my new email address, my babies. Otherwise, you can contact Mum if you're listening to me from the past. Sorry, I'm a time traveller. I've got to do inter time zone connection. If you're listening to me from the past, don't forget Mum's website, which is globalmaori.org or globalmaori.info. Globalmaori.org got stolen from me. So, globalmaori.info. Now, okay, without further ado, okay, so the New Zealand courts, I'm the person that has been coming out saying that the New Zealand courts have been burning people below the Auckland District Courts. Now, as part of my investigations as a detective, I have been into these courtrooms, I've done certain investigations, and what I discovered were a couple of things. One is the lifts, they don't only go up. They go down to possibly to a basement car park. I can't quite remember, but they also go way below that as well. And sometimes I've noticed that in the New Zealand courtrooms, that I've been to, the floor is not actually attached to the walls. So one time I went into a courtroom, I'm pretty sure it was the Albany District Court, where I'm set to appear there for a tenancy tenancy tribunal hearing, and I'll explain those details a bit later on in this video. But I'm set to appear there on the 4th of June 2019. Now, what I've noticed in these courtrooms is that the floor is not attached to the walls, and so while you're in a hearing and it's very intense and you're really focusing on defending yourself and you're doing your best to tell the truth, they have the system whereby the courtroom starts to gently go down. So the floor holding you, the desk, the chairs, the pews, the pulpit, everything is slowly going down, and you're not realizing it. So they have this system whereby if they believe you're lying, the courtroom starts to go down and down and down, to the point where by the time the court case finishes and they let you out of the court case, you walk out of that court case thinking you're going back to the same floor, stepping into the same floor into which you entered, but in actual fact, you can step into darkness, and that has actually happened to me. And I believe that happened to me at the Albany District Courtrooms. Now, the Albany District Courtrooms is one of the more newer courtrooms. It was built, I think, around about the time Sky City was built. I'm not 100% certain. But anyway, so the Albany District Courts are newer courts, and yet one time when I walked into a court case there, I put a felt tip mark on the wall just to test my theory. And then as the court case was progressing, I kept very stealthily checking this mark on the wall just to test my theory to see if I was right. And lo and behold, the mark ended up way up the wall. And I noticed this to the point where it actually disappeared. And I noticed this, and I was like, hey, Your Honor, I just have one quick question. I put a felt tip mark on the wall. Why is it, when I came in, why is it way up there high when I came in it was about shoulder level? And that's how I found these fuckers out. So back in 2003, before I was executed, I did the same kind of checks at the Auckland District Court, and I discovered the same thing, that there were rooms where the floors were not connected to the walls. You could see that it was it felt like you were stepping onto some kind of base thing that moves you up and down. But you don't feel that when you step in. It's just that being a psychic, I'm in tune with these things, you see. So the Auckland District Courts had this as well. I remember when I stepped, in regards to this mark on the wall, I remember when I stepped into stepped out of the courtroom after the hearing had finished. I stepped into darkness and I was like, hey, who turned the lights out? And then I realized I was in a room full of a lot of other people. And I remember being attacked. I think I remember hearing my girl screaming, and then being the miracle maker that I am, I snapped my fingers and I wished that the people who were evil and were hurting us would die, and boom, that most of them died. And then I looked up, and then suddenly the lights came on, and I think it was a cop. He said to me, what happened? And I said, oh, I just wish that all the evil people who are hurting people would die in this room, and most of them fell over apart from one or two of them, and me and my girl, of course. Now, that's going to sound like a totally delusional story, but I assure you it happens. Also in courtrooms, what they have are mists, gas mists that seep ever so gently into the environment that make you be truthful. So it's like a truth serum, but sometimes it's also to put you to sleep so that they can then carry you out into a St. John's ambulance and take you to a place where you don't want to go. Speaking of which, we have underground cities in this country, and I believe they're in America as well, and I believe they're also under deserts. There's a lot of buildings underneath deserts, and the reason why they're there is because nobody expects that they would be there. You've got Area 52, 51 in America. That is just what you might call a decoy from an even larger city under there. Well, those are my estimations. I have yet to investigate that, but I estimate that it's quite a large complex. There are large underground complexes underneath the deserts, but they're also here in Aotearoa, New Zealand as well. So you've got large under cities that sometimes duplicate what you see on the top of the ground, so that you think, oh, it's nighttime. And in these underground cities is basically where cult people have their wildest fantasies come true. So we're talking orgies, we're talking experimentation with human beings, we're talking experimentation with hypnosis, we're talking turning people literally into vampires. We're talking about making people half dog, half human, half horse, half human, centaurs, beasts, basically anything that they can imagine. That's where they do all their experimenting. So they promote this 100% pure New Zealand environment here, but it's just so far from it. It really, really is. There's a lot of I have felt this country. I felt a quietness in this country since about I think just a while before my execution, before I was executed in a locked coffin outside New World in Orewa, here on the Hibiscus Coast in North Auckland of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Aotearoa is the Māori name for our country. Māori are the indigenous people of our country, which is more commonly recognised as New Zealand. So a lot of I've felt a quietness, and I remember feeling that quietness when, with the power of me and all my children who loved me, who confirmed it, we confirmed that all the evil people hurting children in our country should die. All the evil people hurting babies and children, and even men, women and children, chopping them up, sacrificing children, they should be dead instantly. And I believe that actually happened, which is one of the reasons why I was publicly executed as well. Now, not all of them died, just the ones that were particularly targeting us at that time. Although, having said that, not all of them died. And it is also possible that they might have killed off a whole bunch of good people and made me think that they were all the evil people that I died. These are the kind of things that cult does. I don't really feel like going too much into it. Suffice to say that something real can happen, then they can make something real seem delusional by use of doubles, by use of wax figures, by use of machinery, by use of the same equipment that they make movies with. So just bear in mind that there is a true reality, and then they can also create a false reality to make the true reality look fake. And they have done that in some of the videos that they promoted about me prior to my execution. They made some really, really horrific things, videos about me. They got me to do things that I would never ever do, and one of those things that they got me to do was to bite the lip of one of my hard adopted girls, or my natural born daughters, bite her lip, and then chew part of her lip off. And if I didn't do that, they were going to, and I can't quite remember what they threatened to do. Either strip her naked and rip her in half, like literally rip her legs apart, or throw me off the Sky Tower, which I believe they did actually end up doing. And they made it look like I was committing suicide, but they actually forced my hand to make it look like I was committing suicide. You know, and bearing in mind I'm one of these weird people. No, I'm an angelic being. I'm one of these angelic beings that comes back to life from death. So they made me out to be, because of my knowledge that I've just spoken to you about what the courts were doing, and I haven't finished explaining that yet, but because I was coming out about this in 2003, my daughter was helping me to investigate it. She was only 2 years old. Even my older girls before then were helping me to help keep them safe and stop all this bad stuff from happening. Even then, I've lost my train of thought. I've lost my train of thought. I think I was trying to say something about covering things up. Yes, that's right. So they've tried to make an angelic being like me out to be a demon, someone evil, someone that people should hate and be afraid of, which is absolute lies, because I love people. I love kindness. I'm a very kind and virtuous person, and I love human beings. I love the good, kind, decent, honest human beings. I love that people enjoy sex and rock and roll, and not the drugs and the drinking, of course. I'm not that much of a fan, but it's actually the drinking that's helped me. So I'm such a good person. I have been all my life. I'm age 47 now. And yet they made me to cover up this knowledge that I'm imparting with you now, and many, many other things, many other forms of terrorism going on in our country. To cover it all up, they made me look like an absolute demon. And what they did was they turned the public against me. Not everyone turned against me, but they turned the public against me, and the public started taking turns murdering me. Gangs, people who were hiding crime that I was trying to expose, they all started murdering me and felt justified because they had successfully made the public believe that I was a really evil cannibal, pedophile, pedosexual, murderer, the worst things that you can think of. They portrayed me as. They portrayed me as. And it simply wasn't true. I've been a pretty, like I've actually stayed away from a lot of people throughout my life, because I don't like it when people lie to me. It hurts my feelings. I don't like it when people are mean or cruel to me and my children. That too hurts my feelings, makes me angry. And even then, I haven't tried to kill anyone. I've just tried to walk away. But at age 47, looking back over the things that have happened now that I'm not suffering memory loss, yes, that's another big feature in the story, is my memory loss that I've suffered since I was young, due to trauma and also hypnosis, narcotics-induced hypnosis. So I've been a pretty cool person, really kind, really loving to children, caring and stuff. But because I've tried to expose abuse right throughout my life, I've had so many people make me out to be the villain when I'm actually the victim, saying, "Hey, look, we're being raped over here. Please send some good police. Send help, send the cavalry." And people just don't. People just are too entrenched in the evil that's going around the country. That's embedded the government in this country, that it's you hardly get listened to. And every time you try and expose crime, they put you down. They attack your character, and they even make you say what the people in is it Arab countries, when they want to do a beheading, and they make people say things that aren't true. That's what they've done to me all my life. So, for example, when I was being raped, I had to say that I was the rapist, even though I was the one who called the police. I had to say that I was the rapist, I was the ex-murderer, I was this, I was that, just to so that they could avoid going to jail. And from what I'm telling you, you can now see why the Auckland District Courts were burning people, burning bodies beneath the Auckland District Court. So, from my estimations, and I am really just doing estimations at this point until I can figure out more intricately what happened. So you had whole floors in the Auckland District Court that would actually just take you right down below ground level. And below ground level, when you walked out of that courtroom that you walked into, you're walking into a totally different place, on a totally different floor. You no longer see the street outside, and if you do see the street outside, it's a mock street. And this is what I mean by, this is what cult do, or perhaps more commonly known as Illuminati. Apparently there's a good and bad Illuminati. If there is a good Illuminati, I'd certainly like to be a part of that, but I'd never want to be a part of the bad Illuminati. So there was when I took my girl with me to investigate the what do you call it? The burning of bodies underneath the Auckland District Court. I remember walking with her on my hip. Gosh, I was so in love with her, and I mean that in the most moral sense possible. Not any kind of sexual love for children. I've never been that way inclined at all, ever. Apart from times when they had me under hypnosis and they were trying to force me to like that stuff, and then you try to like it to save your life, etc. But once you wake up from the drugs, you're fine again, you're normal again. At least that's how I was. So anyway, so when my little girl and I were walking down, I think Victoria Street one day, I smelled this really, really bad smell, this very acrid smell, and I thought, oh my gosh, I thought, oh my God, that smells like, I couldn't quite put my finger on it at first, and then I thought, fuck, that smells like burning flesh mixed with chemicals. So from my estimations at that time, I did more research, and from what I gathered, they were burning bodies beneath the Auckland District Court by mixing the bodies with chemicals to produce a smell that would disguise the smell of burning flesh. And I also noticed, and I had my camera with me, and I took photos of a guy who would come up in his truck, and he looked Aryan, blonde hair, beautiful white skin, blue eyes, blonde eyebrows. And he looked to me like, and he's quite a big guy and tall. He'd pulled his vat out of the back of this truck, and this truck was arriving about 4:30 in the afternoon, after interestingly timing it with when court sessions finished. And he'd pull out this big long vat and wheel it down this ramp into to a double set of doors that were chained up. And I sort of made some inquiries. I took some photos of him. Those photos have since disappeared. I took some photos of him, and I also took photos of the black smoke coming out of the Auckland District Court. And the day I took photos of the black smoke coming out of the Auckland District Court, my camera was confiscated from me by 4 younger white people. One snatched my camera, threw it to the next guy, he threw it to the next guy, he threw it to the next guy, etc. But I took photos of this guy who was pulling out this big long steel vat from the back of this truck and then wheeling it down. And then I imagine they were taking it underneath where they were burning the bodies with flesh. And I imagine that there were human bodies inside this vat. And so I'm asking my friend now who I call Daddy-O, who's on the platform outside of Pak'nSave in Silverdale. By the way, this is just to bring you up to speed. I'm talking now about telepathic connection. So he's connecting with me now to ascertain whether or not what I'm saying is true about the Auckland District Courts. And honestly, if he doesn't arrive at the same conclusion I have, then I'll know he's not as good at telepathic investigation, or not so much telepathic, but also psychic investigation as I am. So, so anyway, yeah. So those, and then of course, soon after that, I was publicly executed in a locked coffin. They took me around the country. They disparaged me because I went public about that. And my little girl, I think they took her to America, and they used her psychic ability to help them with their wars and stuff. And she obviously didn't want to do that. She didn't even want to be away from me. They even, I believe, chopped off the bottom half of her body, hopefully with anaesthetic and when she was out, and attached a male's lower half to her, or they just did that to her private parts. They just gave her male private parts. This is another form of terrorism in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I'm absolutely confident when I say that it is also happening in America, Canada, England, Australia. That's another form of terrorism that I've been investigating since I became a detective, since before I became a detective in 1995, because it happened to my mum under the Mental Health Act. She had a woman's body and they brought her home in a man's body. She had bigger hands, bigger feet. She was taller. So you know, I was like, how old was I when I noticed when I was a baby? She was very womanly. I think I've even had my hands enlarged, or new hands attached to my body, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% certain about that. And my feet look different as well. My feet do look different. And certain things about me suggest to me that I have also had body alterations done to me, all against my will, of course. And anyway, so just to recap, that's basically what's happening in our country. Is you've got the courtrooms. I'm not sure how many courtrooms were doing this. I believe every courtroom should be investigated. There are underground cities, there are underground compartments where whole floors of courtrooms go beneath ground, and then you walk out and then you're in a totally different environment. And it's really, really scary for people who've never been there before. And that is how they have been getting rid of a lot of whistleblowers in our country who've been taking cases to court, which is why I don't know that I necessarily want to go to court anymore with my case, with all the crimes that I know. I'm not even sure if I want to go to the court in The Hague anymore. To be honest, like the courtrooms, like I think, I mean, I'm definitely going to go forward with Māori government. Yes, I'm the crazy person that is currently under the Mental Health Act, and you can now see why they put me under the Mental Health Act, because I know intel about New Zealand government that they just don't want people to know, but I'm telling the whole world now. So that's why they put me under the Mental Health Act, to try and silence me and to try and have people not believe in the knowledge that I have of how these courtrooms have been basically genociding, for lack of a better expression, genociding whistleblowers, people who are trying to bring the truth into court, people with evidence of the truth. They're all going to the big down under, so to speak. And I think that's how that is a play of words on how Australia got its name, the big down under, because the big down under is not just the fact that you've got a big Australia in the underneath of the earth. The big down under is actually about people who go into courtrooms and then or mental health institutions, or child, youth and family premises, and then they get taken down, 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 down into these underground rooms. Underground rooms, call them underground cities if you like, because sometimes they're mock places to imitate what is above ground, and it's a really, really scary situation, guys and girls. It's a really, really scary situation, and I recognise that this is why a lot of the police officers are committing crimes, because so clearly our judges are committing crimes of genocide, by getting rid of people who are telling the truth in court, who remember things happening. And I believe that is how they've gotten rid of a lot of people who remember the fact that I was executed publicly. I've been murdered countless times. So I believe that this is a lot of the reason why there are a lot of the people who can testify to the fact of me being executed in both America and New Zealand, is they have fallen victim to what I call the Big Down Under. And the Big Down Under is also where operations are taking place. They are changing identities, chopping people in half, attaching male parts to them, female parts to them, different hands, just to disguise people, and then they let them back up, right? So after they've made all these adjustments, scared the fuck out of them, frightened them with beasts and all the rest of it, they let them back up, and they've had their fun, they've had their sport with them, they let them back up into the hospital, for example, and then they're in bed and they're drugged and they're, oh, you've been asleep for X amount of time, you've been sick, you've been, blah, 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 but you're feeling better now, so we'll let you go home. So then you go back home, live life as normal, not realising that they've created false reality for you to go back to. They might have converted you into a paedophile, a pedosexual rather. They might have given you a new name, a new birth certificate, etc., etc. But they couldn't. Despite doing their worst to me, they couldn't quite pin me down because of my special skill set of time travel, of telepathy, of teleportation. I can teleport people. I'm so excited about that because it means I'll be able to save a lot of my children and bring them into this time zone, hopefully. One of my girls, I'm not sure if she's my heart adopted girl or adopted girl or my natural born girl, but she's saying this is why they executed me, because of this video that I'm making now. And what they also do, sorry, let me just sidetrack for a second. What they also do is they do what is called a mind audit. Now, when you're a psychic like me and you see into the future, and I've seen future a lot in my life, they can do a mind audit and get you to repeat things under a mind audit that you might say in the future. So, for example, everything I'm saying in this video is being played back years ago through someone putting me under a mind audit and hypnosis and getting me to slipstream, what I call slipstreaming, which is where you go into the mindset of anyone and you repeat what they're saying or you act out what they're saying. At all times I can control that, at all times. A lot of the time, let me just sidetrack again, the false videos that were made about me, a lot of the time when I acted crazy, I was literally acting so I could show my children how to act crazy so that they wouldn't get overdosed all the time, because the more you act sane under the Mental Health Act, the more you speak truth under the Mental Health Act, the more you challenge people under the Mental Health Act, the more they drag you. So you've got to act all crazy and go, blah, 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 and do things like that just to fool them or trick them into thinking that you're actually crazy. But sometimes they do make people go crazy, like if you're not strong enough, like I am, thanks to my angelic biochemistry, if you're not strong enough like I am, they can make you go crazy. They can turn you into pedosexuals. They can do a lot of things to you, and that's why I believe a lot of our police officers in America, in New Zealand, in Canada, in Australia, in the UK are so vicious and violent and cruel, and they break the law a lot. And it's because of the big down under. In fact, let me change the name of this bulletin. It's called we'll call this the big down under. Yeah, pretty good muscles, huh? That's what's helped me get out of a lot of tricky situations, believe you me. I have a pretty good right hook. And also you're talking to someone who does what my good friend Michael calls a walk-in, and that is where you basically you get murdered and then you come back to life as a baby. But the difference with me is when I get murdered, I come back to life in this same body. Even though I might be looking at my murdered body down there, I'll walk in with a brand new body, which is the same body as what has just been murdered. If you can understand what I'm saying, it's kind of like I come back into the memory of who I was before I was murdered, rather than coming back as a baby and then having those memories of your past life return to you. So I've been murdered so many times, and I'm in the same body that I was born in back in April 1972. 17th of April 1972 is my birthday. And here's another thing that happens. Because of that unique gift, people have murdered me for my body so that they can, through body part theft and the knowledge and skills that they have of being able to transfer body tissue, etc., they've used my dead body so they could smother me and stop me from coming back into that body. So then I've got to come into a new instance of me, which is what you're looking at now. They can take my old body and put someone else's brain in it and basically bring me back to life because I've got that angelic biochemistry. So how many doubles of myself do I have walking around out there? Who knows? How many people have murdered me so that they can attach my arms to them, so that they can pretend that they're me and get access to my inheritance. I'm a very, very wealthy person, by the way. Very, very wealthy person. I would estimate my wealth to be in the trillions, easily. When you add up everything, that all the jackpots I've won, all the businesses that were created from that jackpots, all the millions that were stolen from my banks, in poker winnings or jackpot winnings alone, I would estimate my worth to be around, I don't know, 100 billion. Because let's not forget, I've had bonus bonds as well that have been jackpotting and tripling all my life. Those have been stolen. ASB Bank stolen money from me. Anyway, so that was another big part of the reason why I was executed in this country and also in America, was because of my wealth that people in this country wanted to claim. And that's what a lot of the courts are doing for really wealthy people. If they want their wealth and their prestige, they will set them up, make that person go to court. They'll put the evidence in front of the court. They'll take them to the big down under, adjust them, put someone else's brain in their body, put one of the cult brains in their body, bring them back up, and hey, suddenly they're now working for cult. And that's another form of terrorism, is brain transfer or even spirit transfer. I believe they've figured out how to do spirit transfers, or rather consciousness transfers. That's been talked about a lot in recent times as well. So let's move over to a little bit more about the body part theft. You've seen those videos where people are advertising, hey, come and get a new body, we'll transfer your consciousness into this new body and you will look like a sex machine, baby. I suspect that those are from sperm banks. Those bodies are from sperm banks. They are clones. They are being cloned through the big down unders in America, Australia, Canada, etc., where a lot of these secret criminal undertakings are happening. Um, and I believe they're taking place. They're doing a lot of experimentation with people, including time travel. Like you can imagine if you had a whole city to yourself to do whatever the fuck you wanted to do with it. What would you do? Would you keep morals intact and make sure that any scientific invention that came to light um, was done so with care for the environment, care for people, care for our planet? Would you always keep that in mind before you made inventions? Or would you go absolutely crazy? If you were already fucked in the head, would you go absolutely crazy and just conjure up your worst imaginations and try and bring them into reality? That is what a lot of these cults slash Illuminati slash um, really sick people do. And, I was one of these people that went through life thinking, oh gosh, people are Satan and the devil. And I mean, that's just hogwash. I mean, I still don't believe in hell, but hell is a place here on earth, and they're in the big down unders. And that's where a lot of people who were defending me prior to and during the executions that took place around the country, um, that's where I believe a lot of my really, really good friends have ended up. Um, so, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think I like to think that I'm exaggerating about just how big these underground places are. Um, and another place that comes to mind is the mining place in America. Like, what really is going on underground there? Um, what about the Pike mining point, or whatever, Pike River mining? Remember those people that got killed underground? Do you by any chance think it's because they discovered something underground there that the New Zealand government did not want the public fucking knowing about? Because that's why I think they were not let out of the what is it called? I've got to look it up now. Bear with me. Bear with me. Pike River Point. Pike River Point? Pike River Point mining. Pike River Mine. Oh, they're calling it the Pike River Mine. Huh. Why did Pike River Mine explode? Who owns Pike River Mine? Who died in Pike River Mine? Okay, so it's Pike River Mine. For some reason, I remember the name being slightly different to that. Anyway, I believe that the people who died there actually discovered possibly an underground places that New Zealand did not want people to know existed. I also believe that at Rainbow's End, similar places, similar things were happening, like, for example, the maze. In the maze at Rainbow's End, there were certain doors. For those of you who don't remember, there was a maze at Rainbow's End where children would go through to and try and figure out how to get out of. If I'm not mistaken, I lost one of my children there, and there were little doors. I did notice there was a door in the maze, a little doorway, and I believe it was being used to snatch children. And so a lot of people, and they might have also released a bit of a mist to make people think that they left their child at home in the car, or something like that. So they can release a mist like that to drug someone once they've snatched their child, and then they'd go to sleep and wake up and think, "Hey, where am I? Like, what's happening? Like, what up? Why has everyone gone home?" So Rainbow's End is another place to be very careful of in terms of what is underneath Rainbow's End, how they are snatching children at Rainbow's End, how they are silencing parents about their children being snatched at Rainbow's End. McDonald's, Wendy's, these American companies that have got camera footage that is possibly being fed back to America. This could be another way that they are trafficking children. Sorry, McDonald's, sorry, Wendy's, I do love your food, don't get me wrong, but one has to question who are the people operating these food chains and whether or not children are being watched through cameras and if they're a good-looking child, you know, how they're going to go about getting that child. Is New Zealand government, is Child, Youth and Family, aka also known as Oranga Tamariki, are they working with the people in community who are whistleblowing and creating false allegations about parents so that they can steal their child, so that that child ends up at an elite party over at some fancy island in America, in the Bahamas or wherever? You know, you've got to be very mindful about, given that our courts are this evil, given that we do have the big down under, what you would call a theory, but I believe it's very, very real. I believe, you know, like, given that we have this kind of reality operating in isolated New Zealand, you know, you have to then wonder, well, who else is working with it? I mean, this is a pretty big thing to be hush-hush about. You know what I mean? It's a pretty big thing for people not to notice, and people are not noticing that people are missing, or people have said, oh, they're going overseas, moving overseas, etc. This is a human genocide. This is a legal form of human genocide. And isn't it just horrible to think that the judges, perhaps not all of them, but I would suggest a very, very big handful of them, are actually behind the Big Down Under conspiracy. The Big Down Under is also in America, I believe. Canada, I mentioned that. Australia, the UK, and I would imagine that the Big Down Under conspiracy, we'll call this the Big Down Under conspiracy. I would imagine that the Big Down Under conspiracy happened was experimented with in the days of where dungeons were being used to house whistleblowers, children, men, women, even babies who spoke the truth. Yes, a lot of my babies I give birth to can speak even before they are born. Now that sounds like another crazy thing, which is another reason why they've got me under the Mental Health Act. So you don't believe that phenomena like that has been a part of my life since forever, but believe you me, people, it is true. I give birth to starlight babies that shine like me, that have my powers of telepathy, teleportation, healing, miracle making, and so anyway, so given that in my assessment of all of this has been happening, I've decided that being this loving, kind person is still very, very important to me. But what is equally important to me is that if I can't heal a person with a snap of my fingers in a life-threatening situation, then I'm sorry, but I've got to kill them. I'm sorry, but I've got to kill them. I've got to, well, not, yeah, it depends on the severity of their crimes. I'm the Māori president. My name is Nellie Ann Myrene Morton, with or without the hyphen. And Myrene I put in brackets because Myrene is not the name I was given when I first got a birth certificate when I was young. So I'm the Māori president of the Māori government, that the moral government that I have spent the last since after my execution, I've spent the last, since then, which was in, I think my execution was in 2003, so I've spent since 2003 doing my best to found and establish the moral government of Aotearoa. And I think I've made a lot of progress with it. It's just that people would probably rather think that I haven't. There's a lot of people quiet in this country because they know I know their crimes, and so they've sort of gone into hiding. And given that New Zealand is a pedicetial movement fronting as a country, a lot of people in this country don't want me to go public about the crime that I know they're crimes that I know that they're guilty of. That being said, I no longer think I want to go through the courts with it. I think I would rather wait until Māori government has their own courtrooms, and then for those people, not only in our day and age, but even in the past, who I believe deserve a bullet in the head for genocide, for you know, throwing countries into war and chaos, who are deliberately feeding evil and on this planet. Those are the people that, if I have no choice but to, if they refuse to change, or if the circumstances surrounding them are too great that they can't overcome them, then I'm going to have to put a bullet in their heads. And already people on my list are people like Hitler, who else? Probably the UK Queen. Not this UK Queen. Oh, I don't know. Oh my God, is that why I was executed? Is that why the Queen approved my execution? Yes, I believe my execution was approved by the Queen. Maybe I'll put on my hit list whoever put a hit on Lady Diana. And if that turns out to be the Queen, then what choice do I have? What choice do I have? So therein lies the fact that I have very powerful enemies, including the Queen of England. Why? Because I would suggest that it was the Queen of England who approved the Big Down Under conspiracy, whereby the courts were actually burning people beneath the courts, where whole floors were moving people under. Yeah, I'm actually going to have a drink of fizzy now. So I hope you've been keeping up with what I'm saying. This is probably going to be a 2-hour video. Pardon me. Oh my God, you just hurt me burp. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Oh, okay, I'm going to have a cigarette now. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to say. And I know I've started talking about something and not come back to it. So feel free to drop a comment underneath this video if you want me to finish off something I started talking about and didn't quite get to finish. It's a tricky thing trying to explain everything when you're when there is just so much to explain in order for people to understand. But this is Nellie Morton coming at you from 9B Pension Road here in Stanmore Bay. I was going to explain to you about that. Okay. Part of the reason, actually I remember years ago saying that I would kill whoever put a hit on Lady Diana. That could be why I got executed as well. Why do I want to talk to you? I don't even know this person. Why are you calling me? Anyway, I'm sorry, but I'm in the middle of a news bulletin. Sorry, breaking news, I should say. Breaking news. So, the Big Down Under conspiracy. Oh, look, please. The Big Down Under conspiracy. So, another reason for, and I know I touched on this earlier in this video, but another reason for my execution my executions, public executions and private executions. Another reason for them was because they couldn't pin me down. So, sorry, I'll come back to 9B Penton Road, the house that I'm renting right now, which I actually own. But another thing that they did when they after they executed me and I came straight back to life, and that's proven on camera, they went around the country executing me more. It turned out to be some kind of magic show. They were gassing me and burning me alive. Can you believe that? But one of the other things that they did was they made me use my time travel ability to take a couple of people back in time. I think it was to one of the institutions, one of the old institutions, Lake Alice, Carrington, Oakley, one of those places, to make it look like that I already had history in these mental health places. Can you believe that shit? They made it look like I already had history in my past life because they made me use my time travel and teleportation skills to take them back in time, to register me as a patient, to make me look like I already had history in my past life as a mental patient. Pardon me. I hope you didn't just hear that. So that's one of the things that they did after they executed me, and couldn't keep me under. Oh, golly geez. You know, I remember being chopped up by an axe by my brother. Literally chopped up. Axe in the head, axe all over the body. Oh, fuck. And that's another big story, which if you look at my previous post, my last, the Facebook post that is at the top of my Facebook page on the 28th of May 2019, if you look at that post, you'll see that that I've explained a lot of the reason how they incriminated me from a young age, how they falsely incriminated me from a young age. I think that might be a double paradox there, a double jeopardy, whatever. Like falsely and incriminating. Don't they mean the same thing? Anyway, I hope you understood my meaning. But I was talking, oh look, I've just forgotten. I was talking about, uh, 9B Penton. Oh yeah, the time travel thing. So they made me time travel when I was under the Mental Health Act back to other mental health institutions to make it look like I'd already had history in my past life, which is a whole lot of hogwash. Now, back to 9B Penton Road in Stanmore Bay, where I am currently. Yes, I was hypnotised to smoke. Really, really badly. Hypnotised really, really badly. At a Scientology, oh, there's another church of interest. At the Scientology premises in Panmure, I might add. How involved is Scientology in the Big Down Under conspiracy? Involving the New Zealand courts and New Zealand hospitals. I forgot to mention New Zealand hospitals are involved in the Big Down Under conspiracy. So hospitals. I would suggest the beehive itself has a Big Down Under underneath the beehive. And if there's a lot of work being done, you've got to look back over our history since I've started exposing the Big Down Under conspiracy. You've got to look at a lot of the history where development companies have changed those places and what they've done to cover up what was underneath. So I've seen a lot of work done here. I believe here at the Whangaparaoa Plaza, there has been a Big Down Under conspiracy. There has been a big down under underneath the plaza up here, Whangaparo Plaza. Where else do I think? North Shore Hospital, Auckland Hospital, Mercy Hospital. I don't know if that's still operating, but I believe that's where a lot of body part theft operations were done. Mercy, doesn't that worry you, the name Mercy? Like, please have mercy. They might have been doing them while they were still alive. Even today, people are having their internal organs taken out of them while they're still alive for other people. And that's why I did not tick the donor box on my New Zealand driver's license, because that kind of stuff goes on as well. A lot of people who have died that way will be really grateful that I'm making this video, and they'll want their names put forward and their cases put forward. And the only way that we're really going to be able to achieve that is under Māori, is within, I hate the word under, is within, that's why I always use the word within moral government of Aotearoa. So I've decided that there are only certain things that I'm going to take to the New Zealand courts in terms of my large panoramic case, and other things like determining how to deal with injustices of the past. I'm going to start the moral government of Aotearoa, and I'm going to start using my time travel and teleportation skills to save people, men, women, children, babies, children, women, men. And I'm also going to be killing people with permission from the courts, from the moral government of Aotearoa. I'm going to be killing people who were responsible for child abductions, particularly under false allegation. I'm going to kill people who were sacrificing children, stabbing them, cutting them, burning them while they were still alive. So many innocent souls have been through that. Innocent young children have been through that. And honestly, I just want to get a knife and stab myself. That's how bad it makes me feel to know that so many people, so many innocent, vulnerable people have been through that. And we can't hear their screams because they do it in soundproof rooms. And that's what I think is in the big down under here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Soundproof rooms. So, how big is this cult network? How big? How were they managed? How did they manage to build so many large places underneath our countries, like in Christchurch as well? In Christchurch, where not a lot of people are aware of what was going on. Look at those churches with the horrible demon-looking statues. I mean, they've got to be under churches as well. These underground places are also beneath churches as well. Isn't that a scary thought? I think one of these underground places was underneath the cathedral church in Christchurch as well. And yes, I've been to Christchurch and I've been into the cathedral church, and don't know what to make of it, really. Some ways I feel really scared. Oh, I remember there was a statue. People who stood on this particular step leading up to this fucking demon-looking statue outside the cathedral church would basically just drop down. Would just drop down into this underground department. And that's another way that unsuspecting people are just being swallowed up in the big down under. I'm probably going to wrap this video up again soon. Now you can see why I smoke. The stress of this knowledge has turned me grey, literally turned me grey. I've got grey hair coming through. The stress of all this knowledge has literally turned me grey. But I'm hoping that I'll get happy again soon, because I'll be able to do my time travel missions. I consider myself an international, Well, you helped me come up with a label for myself. I'm someone who can teleport and time travel and heal and perform miracles, make it rain. I can even drop like burning ash on top of me. That's happened as well before. um, Took me by surprise. I don't even know if I did that. Maybe someone else did that. But I do perform miracles. I have saved lives. I believe I'm the one that caused that big hole inside, out the top of Area 51 and let all the aliens free, because I called the aliens to our planet to come and help us. I called all the kind aliens to our planet to come and help us. And that's why there's been a lot of alien activity, the cloud eaters, a lot of different phenomena have been happening since those aliens were released from Area 51. So, please don't smoke. Please don't smoke. I've used smoking as a crutch to help me through these really tough times, but please don't smoke. It's not good for your health. I feel sorry for my babies. I only found out that I was pregnant about 3 weeks ago, and I've had 2 pregnancy tests say that it's negative, that I'm not pregnant, and that's how another form of terrorism that's been happening in our country is that New Zealand Mental Health have been taking baby breeders into their institutions. They've been making them pregnant, taking their babies. That's how they're feeding the pedosexual cult. So really, really what this comes down to is the good people versus the evil people. And the people in the middle of the good and the evil need to decide which side they're on. Because what I'm talking about implicates absolutely every level of government in the countries that I've mentioned. It implicates the FBI, it implicates churches, it implicates hospitals, it implicates charities, it implicates charities like World Vision, like the intellectually handicapped, sorry, that's not the word, the mentally challenged. It implicates Human Rights Commission, it implicates United Nations, it implicates the police forces in these countries. So what this is going to come down to is knowing that a lot of our judges are corrupt, knowing that a lot of our police officers are corrupt, knowing that the big down under theory exists and is joked about by people who know what the big down under theory really means. It's going to come down to the good people holding hands to fight the evil in this country. Now, I'm squaring you all on to what's happening right now. Oh, I may as well have a sip of... No, I'll have a sip of lemonade. I'm squaring you all on to what's happening. Do pardon my Hori Māori styles. Pardon me. I have a glass over there. I didn't use it. This is called survival mode. I'm in survival mode. Survival mode is where you forget to do all the fine, you forget about your finesse, you forget about your airs of dignity, you forget about your, dressing up to yourself and making yourself look so nice and beautiful and all the rest of it. Pardon the accent. You just get fucking real about life, and you drink out of a 1.5 litre bottle if you feel like drinking out of a 1.5 litre bottle, because you ain't got time for no pouring it into a glass, because fuck bro, knowledge like this does it makes you realize that you can't run away from it. You have to face it square on. Even private homes have got underground underground places underneath them. Private homes have got them as well, where people are being held hostage. At the moment, I'm worried about all my children who have been trafficked to other countries, how many babies they've had since then. Oh, another form of terrorism in our country, precocious puberty, the child pregnancy epidemic. That is another form of terrorism in our country where our babies are being used to feed the pedosexual cult. I would like to do a shout out to the FBI agent that I've been working with, James, what's his name? James Stryker or James Stringer. I invite all the good people from the FBI, the honest ones, the ones who believe in hand on heart honor. I actually did get the right side of my heart. Well, the left side. You know what I mean. I've been working with the FBI agent to try and expose this stuff. Now, a lot of the stuff I'm saying now might have already been said by other people before me who have put me under hypnosis and done a mind audit and got me to speak about the things that are happening in the future. So there might have been people who have put it in a different perspective in order to suit their means. And one of those people in particular is a pawn, I'll call him a pawn, who's been used by cult, to help make me look like a jealous, vengeful woman, being the reason why I should be executed. Oh, because she's so jealous. Well, as a matter of fact, buddy, I sell jealousy. I sell jealousy to help save lives. But I'm not. I am a jealous person in a normal way. Like if I haven't had the time, if I'm going through too much stress to, put on some nice makeup, really make myself feel beautiful, then I can feel inferior to women who have had the time to do all of that to themselves, make themselves smell beautiful, look beautiful, all of that. And me, I'm in my plain Jane clothes, So that's a normal jealousy, I feel. But I do not wish them harm. I don't want harm to come to them unless they deliberately fuck someone in front of me that I have feelings for. It's D-Day, motherfuckers. And that's happened to me so many times. So when they say I'm a jealous person, it would be for very, very good reason. It would be for very, very good reason. But it's not so much jealousy that I feel, it's more hurt. It's more hurt that someone could hate me enough to do something like that to me. And that is very, very evil. It is very, very evil. Would that be considered a form of terrorism? I'd say so. I'd say that's a form of terrorism. A type of. Anyway, so as you will see in my post on Facebook on 28th of May 2019, you'll see that, I've had, I'll just read the post, otherwise I'll be talking for another half hour. But shout outs to the psychics who are genuine psychics, who do telepathic mind audits, who investigate thoroughly, who use their psychic ability in addition to their telepathic ability to ascertain and analyze the truth. Yay! I've just made a lot of cop friends. I've just made a lot of cop friends who are really grateful that I've come out about this truth. Yes, and the only way I was able to come out about this truth is because I have angelic biochemistry and I've been able to come back from death. If not for my angelic biochemistry, which I believe is in the bloodline of Jesus, I don't think I would have been able. I don't think I would have been able to um, to make this video that I'm making to you now. You are listening to somebody that has died countless times over my lifetime. I'm 47 years old. You're looking at about the, I don't know, 67th version of me. The 67th time I've come out of proper death. That's my estimation. Gosh, do you know how it felt to be executed by your own government that you'd been loyal to? I'd been loyal to New Zealand government. And to be executed by New Zealand government after all my years of loyalty, my service on the police force, my undercover mission, everything, it's tormenting, it's heartbreaking. But what torments me and heartbreaks me most of all is knowing that my children were being tortured, not only in this country but in other countries around the world, because of what New Zealand government did by painting me out to be a demon when I'm actually an angel. Oh, and the last thing to mention is one of the reasons I was executed in America and New Zealand. Fuck, I hope Australia didn't execute me. One of the other reasons is because I'm a very wealthy lady. This house that I own here at 9B Penton Road, I've been given notice to move out of it. I have a landlord who is my fake landlord, who's been making me pay rent to him while he's been skipping around the world having holidays at my expense, because he's stolen five of my houses that I know of. 5 of my houses that I know of. Likely more. And he's stolen them because of my memory loss, because after I was executed, I lost, I was all suffering memory loss anyway. But because of my memory loss, a lot of people have been able to, banks have stolen millions, and I'm talking multiple fucking millions, out of my bank accounts. I've had my property portfolio stripped from me. This house was confirmed by Rodney District Council that I own it, and yet here I am paying rent to a guy from India. Yes, he's an Indian guy from India who has stolen a few of my properties. Can you believe the absolute bullshit? Can you believe the absolute bullshit? So a lot of immigrants are coming into our country and they're basically killing people and taking over their properties. They tried to kill me so that they could take over this property. Now I've got a court case coming up on the 4th of June 2019 where I need to present this information to the courts about my properties being thieved, about me being executed, and they will either start a formal investigation into this, or the landlord is going to buckle up, take off, and drop the case and leave me to my property. I have donated $11 million to work and income support to help people get a little bit of extra money for the things that they need. I have also had my father's lawyer, Steve Campbell, ask work and income support to hold on to $11 million for me back in, I think it was the year 2005, and to also pay me the interest because of my memory loss. Now, will they give that 11? Will work and income support give not the 11 million I donated, but the 11 million that my father's lawyer, Steve Campbell, asked them to hold for me? Will they give that back to me? We shall see. We shall see. So I've got the court case at the Tenancy Tribunal at Albany District Courts coming up on the 4th of June 2019. I'm not sure what time it is, I'll have to find out. But basically, after making this video, which I'm going to upload onto YouTube today, being the 28th of May 2019, I'm going to upload this today, and if I don't come out of the Tenancy Tribunal at the Albany District Courts intact, no mist infecting, no mist making me sleepy, if I don't come out of those courtrooms the same way that I walk in, then you'll know I'm in the big down under. This is Nellie Morton reporting to you live from 9B Penton Road here in Stanmore Bay, where I live. But for how much longer will I live here? That remains to be seen. Will New Zealand government honour the truth that I have sent in an email that I've posted on my last Facebook post? Will they honour the truth that I've told and return everything to me? Return all my wealth and my children to me? Will they honour that? We shall see. Take care. Good night, everyone. God bless. God keep you safe, and I'll help keep you safe too. Once I'm out of this this little slice of hell. Bye for now.